Welcome to week 3 of client-side web development. And we're going to go and start with lesson 7. So lesson 7 is using external and internal links. So today we're going to talk about anchor links, links between pages in your website. We're going to talk about external links, non-web documents such as PDF and Word documents, how to link to those, how to link to an email address, using Windows to target as targets to your links, how to style your links with CSS, how to add descriptions, and best practices. So we'll start with using how to create a link. So anchor tags, and that's with the the angle brackets and the A, are used to create links in your web pages. The href attribute is used to identify the addresses in the page, and pages can be stored in subdirectories, and slashes separate the subdirectory names. So let me go ahead and go to our Visual Studio Code. Just give me a second here. Just want to make sure. I do that. So we're going to go ahead and start with lesson 7 here, week 3. And we'll go live. All right, so this is week 3. So the first thing I'm going to start with is we'll go to the relative root links. And basically the links, as you can see when you go to a website, it has an underscore under each link. So let's go ahead and here's a good web address example. So here you have a link to this African.html page and this Asian.html page. So if we go back here to the relative links and I click on this link, well, first of all, let me go to the relative root. And what we've done here, this is what our links look like. So here you have an anchor tag. href gives you the location of the link. And then in between the start and end tags, we have the text that appears on the link. So one thing you'll notice is this / in front of elephants. So what that means is anytime you have a / is that starts, the URL starts at the root of your web page. So the root of the web page, if we go back here, is after the host name. So these numbers is the IP address, the internal IP address of the host name, and then the / anything after that starts the relative root link. So when we click on that link, you're going to see that the address of the actual elephants page starts at the root. So if you click on here, and one thing if you notice is as I hover over it down at the bottom, you see /elephants /african.html. That takes you to that page under elephants. So if I click on there, notice we're no longer in that lesson 7 because we used a root relative address. And again, that's expressed here. So if you do a /, your address is going to start at the root. And when we start off our web server, our root folder is the week 3 folder that I have here. So anything under there, that's the root. So that's why everything in the lesson 7 starts in lesson 7 and then the index.html file that we have. So that's the way that root relative works. and so they the relative addresses lack the entire domain name, so that the slash starts the root relative, and they're relative to the document root due to the beginning forward slash. And then you have the regular relatives. So if we go back here to our example and look at these links, now if you notice when I hover over it, you could see that because they're just relative to where we are, they all start in lesson 7. So if we say, and if we look at the relative.html down here, unlike the root relative, it doesn't have the forward slash. And because we are already in the lesson 7, everything is relative to the lesson 7 folder. So when we click on here, see, now we're still in the lesson 7, but now we do elephants African.html. And if you look over here, they're two different. The root relative has to go up a level, and then the regular the relative just starts at the lesson 7, which is the same level that the index.html is, and then goes down here this way. So they're actually going to two different directories depending on if they're root relative or they're just relative links. These are relative links here. All right. So again, these types of addresses allow the links to become relative to whichever directory the containing document is. So because the containing document is in the lesson 7, it becomes relative to the lesson 7 folder. And then you have your absolute link. So this is interesting because now usually you use these absolute links to go to a site that's outside of your website. So if we go back to our sample here, if I click on the absolute links here, you could see that this takes you, I have a link to Google. So if I look at my absolute, look at what these anchor tag looks like, you basically give it a totally different website. So something like google.com or the ctstate.edu. This will send us to a different site. So if I click on Google here, that opens up a new tab and sends us to Google's website. So the one thing you have to be aware here is in order to get a new tab to pop out, there's this target attribute that you can add, and what that does is that opens up a new tab on here. Now I have the same links that goes to the same tab, so if I click on this link, what it does is it opens the link in the new tab. Now the thing about that, you may not want to open the link in the new tab, so and then if you want to get back to the page, you have to hit the back button to get back to this page here. So then another thing to be aware of, and again, I did the same thing here for CT State. Here we open a new tab, and then here we went to the same tab. So to get back, we have to hit the back button to get back to our site, our website that we created. Okay, the other thing you want to look at is the double dot notation. It's a special command that indicates that the folder that contains the current folder. In other words, it goes to the parent folder. And the places where I've done this, so if we go back to our, let's go back to root relative here. And if we go to the root relative HTML doc, one thing that you'll notice is in these pages over here, I use the double dot because in order to get back to the index.html page, I have to go up 2 levels because I'm in this elephants directory here. In order to go up to the lesson 7 and get to the index, I have to go up a level, and that's what the 2 dots allows you to do. So if your page is in a subdirectory and if you want to go back up 1 level, you have to use 2 dots. If you want to go back up 2 levels, you have to do 2 dots, a slash, and another 2 dots. So it's a way of you being able to navigate back to where you were before. And that's what needed to change in my menu in order for the menus to work at this level. All right, so linking within a page using anchors. So this one, let's go back to our home page here. And I believe this is anchor. So here what I've done is I created this page with a huge amount of text so that we can scroll. And I created an anchor link down at the bottom. So if when I click this link, it takes me back up to the top automatically. And this is kind of a good navigation to have if you have to navigate within the same page. And the way that works, if we go to anchors, here we have all the page. What you do is you set up an ID somewhere at the top. So here I have an ID on my header, the Absolute Links header. So in order to navigate back there, I create an anchor so that when someone clicks on this link, it just takes you back up to the top. So that prevents you from having to scroll back to one of the other spots on the page. And this is useful like if you have a very long page but you have like a table of contents and you want to be able to click on the table of contents and take you directly to the part of the page you want to go to. So that's a good use of that. All right, next we have linking between your own web content. We've already done that. We've done that from the beginning because that's how all these menu items work. These are just links to other pages on there. And it's just as simple as adding an href there. And we've been doing that all along. Then linking between non-HTML files. You could also link to documents. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So if we go non-HTML file, here we have a dummy PDF file. So if we look at the non-HTML, the way this looks like is we have an anchor tag and it directly references, here we're referencing a PDF file. As you can see, I have the PDF file in my folder here. So when I click on it, it's going to try to open up that PDF. I do have this target blank, so it opens it up on a different, in a different tab. So now if we look here and we click on this dummy, it opens up the PDF in the browser because the browser understands how to open PDFs. And you can see it opened it up in this PDF viewer in here. All right, and then that's linking to non-HTML files. You can also link to an email address. So here we have an email address here. If I wanted to go send an email, depending on which email program you have registered with your browser, so I click send an email. Right now, it takes me to my web login so that I can log into my my email account on the site and send an email that way. So your browser has a way of, there's a way of telling your browser which email program to use. When you set it, it goes to that. And again, the way you look at it in the href, you have to put this mail to colon and then the email address that you want to send your email to. Okay, and then that'll open up your mail program and even start start creating an email with that too. And you could even send it more if you wanted to give it a subject and a body. You could do that. So there's a lot of flexibility there that you have with that. And again, if you look at the email, how it looks in our example here, you'll see that we just do a mail to colon, and then it's going to use my email address and send it to a new window. We've already opened the link with the new browser. Again, when you do that with the target attribute that you add to the anchor element. So we've done that already, so I'll move on. You can give titles to links. So I think we did this one. So if I hover over here, you can see the title, "This is Cool," pops up there when I hover over it. And you can simply make that happen by, so let's see effects here, by just adding this title attribute, and it'll get this title on there. All right. There's also, you can use CSS for hyperlinks. Some special effects, if I hover over it, it changes the color to red. And basically you do that with CSS. So if you look at the CSS for this page here, down here, I have this hover over here. So basically what I did is I create, if you look at my my effects page here, right, we did that. If you look at my effects page here, it has a class of hover. So when we go to our CSS style, we say, hey, any anchor that has a class of hover, and then the colon hover says when the mouse hovers over it, change the color of the link to red. And that's what causes, what's causing that to turn to red when I hover over it with my mouse. Oh, and I also have the "This is Cool" title on there too. So, okay, and then that just shows you how to do the different link styles. Okay, and then lastly, we're going to talk about using links effectively. You want to make your links stand out by changing their color, etc. For links, use only link styles. Make links stand out from other texts. Style visited links lets your user know that you've been on the page. You want to use descriptive content for links. Don't just say click here. So just kind of create a text that says where it's going to take you. Kind of like in my examples, it just said Google, so when you click on there, it knew it took you to Google. Add padding to text links. This makes the links more clickable. You want to link images, use icons to aid in comprehension, and avoid tiny links. Small links are hard to click on. And I think that's it for lesson 7.